plants and animals. And we can observe constant change in our surroundings in the course of the year. You can see the flowering and fruiting of trees and plants, and even changes in the animal activity, etc. That means you will be seeing the changes in the lifestyle of the human beings with the changes in the seasons. Even you will be observing some changes in the trees and even in the lifestyle of the animals. Trees shed leaves, stand bare, new shoots come out, leaves grew again, they flower and give fruits. Similarly, you may have also noticed that in different seasons we get different kinds of vegetables and fruits. And in some months it is very hot, and in some months it is cold or wet. Now children, talking about our subcontinent India, you will be finding three main seasons, that is summer, monsoon and winter. You will find in India different climatic conditions are prevailing in the different parts of the country. While talking about the far south, that is Kerala, Tamil Nadu and Andaman, these areas do not experience much cold during the winter season. But talking about the states which are located towards the northeast, you will find that the summer is not as severe as the South Indian states are experiencing. While talking about the states located towards the north of India, they experience warm summer, cold winters and rainy monsoons. Now children, as said that we are only aware about the three seasons, that is summer, winter and raining. But according to the ancient Sanskrit literature, we have intermediate seasons as well. So there are total of 6 seasons and these are called as Ritus. Now let me tell you the name of the 6 seasons according to the ancient Sanskrit literature. The first one is Vasant Ritu, that is spring season. Then comes Grishma Ritu, that is summer season. Then comes Varsha Ritu, that is monsoon. Then comes Sharad Ritu, autumn. Hemant Ritu, pre-winter. And lastly, it's Shishira, winter. Now related to each seasons, there are some agricultural operations related to it, and even there are some festivals which are celebrated in each of these seasons. Now children, let us learn about the festivals and the agricultural operations that are associated with these seasons. We will start with the first season, that is Vasanta. Vasant Ritu marks the end of the cold winter with flowering of trees and is also the harvest time for winter crops. During this season, a number of communities in India welcome their new year. During this season, a number of communities in India welcome their new year and celebrate it with festivals such as Vasant Panchami, Holi, Ugadi, Gudi Padwa, Vishu, Bihu, Baisakhi and Palnadu. After Vasant Ritu comes Grishma Ritu, that is summer season, and it is the time when it is the hottest in most parts of India, and even it includes our state Telangana too. After Grishma comes Varsha Ritu, that is rainy season, and this season marks the beginning of rains and agricultural operations in most parts of India. After Varsha Ritu comes Sharad Ritu, that is autumn, and during Sharad the skies becomes clear and the monsoon crops ripen. During this season, festivals like Deepavali are celebrated. After Sharad Ritu comes the Hemant Ritu. It is another pleasant time across the country and you will find the beautiful flowers blossoming. After Hemant comes the Shishir Ritu, which is the coldest period of the year, and even you can find snow covered mountains in some parts of India. Himalayan regions receive snowfall during this time. and a number of crop harvesting festivals such as Lohdi, Pongal and Makar Sankranti are celebrated at the end of this season. Now children, here we are talking about our Indian subcontinent. Now let us learn about the climatic conditions of the other parts of the world. While talking about the other parts of the world children, it is subpolar and the temperate regions of the world, and they typically experience 4 seasons of summer, spring, autumn and winter. Now children, look at the picture given here carefully. You can find this picture in the textbook of class 8, lesson number 3, figure 3.1. This is the picture taken from Lancaster in USA. Now here children, in the first picture, you can see that the tree and its surroundings are covered by snow, a kind of a soft ice. In the second picture, you can see the same tree has fully grown leaves. Going to the third picture, you can see the same tree is sprouting leaves and there is no snow around. And in the last picture, you will see the ripe red leaves are falling from the same tree. So children, now can you tell me, why are these changes taking place? Yes, that's right, because of the different seasons. Now children, talking about this particular place Lancaster, in the first picture you are seeing the snow covered in the surroundings. Have you ever experienced the snow covered in your surroundings? No, am I right? You must have experienced the floods during the rainy seasons, but you have never experienced snow. But in some parts of the earth, it gets so cold during some month that they get snowfall instead, and this picture is taken from Lancaster in USA. It snows heavily in the northern countries during winter, and in summer months it is not so cold but still much cooler than in our state. It is called as a summer season children, but it will be not as hot as we experience during our summer season in our state. And the wonderful thing about these places that children, in these countries the day is much longer in summer, so much so that you can see the sun even at midnight. Now these children, we are talking about the countries that are located towards the north of the equator. Now children, again I would like to give you one more activity. I want all of you to locate Australia, South Africa and Chile on the globe. Now children, while locating these places, you will observe that these 3 places are located towards the south of the equator. That means the weather conditions are entirely different when compared to that of the countries that are located towards the north. It means whenever the northern countries are having summer, the southern countries are having winter. And whenever the southern countries are having summer, the northern countries are having winter. Now children, you will be wondering, right, why this kind of changes are taking place. And these type of questions are arise long back children, and many people are trying to find out the answer for these questions. So in this session children, we will be trying to find out why are these changes taking place and why are the seasons and the climatic conditions opposite in the different hemispheres, that is the northern hemisphere and the southern hemisphere. So children, one of the reason or the factor affecting the changes in the season is Earth's tilt and revolution around the sun. As told earlier children, Earth is not a static planet. It is rotating on its own axis, and while rotating on its own axis, it is revolving around the sun. As told earlier children, Earth is not a static planet. It is rotating on its own axis, and while rotating on its own axis, it is revolving around the sun. And that is, it spins like a top, and at the same time it keeps moving forward around the sun. The motion of the earth around the sun is called as revolution. And each revolution takes about 365 days and 5 hours 56 minutes to complete one revolution. This is the length of a year on the earth. That means earth takes 1 year to complete one revolution around the sun. Now children, have you ever imagined what happens if the earth will not go around the sun? Yes, you will be experiencing the same seasons throughout the year. That means some parts of the planet earth will be hot throughout the year and some planets will be cold throughout the year. But this is not so. Why? Because the axis of the earth's rotation is inclined. Inclined means it is slanting in position and it points in the same direction throughout the year. And the earth goes around the sun on a regular path that is called as an orbit. Children, can you see the line on which the planet earth is revolving? Yes, it is called as an orbit and it is on a level plane in an open space. So this is called as an orbital plane. As earth revolves around the sun, earth's axis remains tilted in the same direction throughout the year and it keeps pointing to the pole star, which can be seen in the northern sky in the night, and this is called as polarity of axis. You can see children, there is a pole star which is shining and the earth is tilted towards that position and it is called as a polarity of axis. Now children, look at this picture and you will be finding in this picture the earth is revolving around the sun. Now let us see what happens to the planet earth while it is revolving around the sun. During some months, that is in the month of June, the northern hemisphere is tilted towards the sun, while in some months the southern hemisphere faces the sun. Can you observe here children? Yes, during the month of June it is shown in a blue color arrow, it is towards the sun, and during the month of December the red arrow is shown, that is the southern hemisphere is facing the sun. Now when the northern hemisphere has summer, the southern hemisphere is having winter. Why? Because the northern hemisphere is directly facing the sun and the southern hemisphere is away from the sun. Similarly, 6 months later, that is December, the position changes and the northern hemisphere goes away from the sun and southern hemisphere comes directly in front of the sun. So at that time, the southern hemisphere is having summer and northern hemisphere is having winter. In some months like March and September, it is equator which faces the sun directly. So both northern and southern hemisphere get equal amount of energy from the sun. So children, this is all about the earth's tilt and revolution of the earth around the sun. Now children, there is one more reason for the changes in the season and the factors that are affecting the season, and that is the temperature belts on the earth. Children, you can see that the solar rays are touching the earth's surface and they fall straight in the portions which face the sun directly, and they fall slantingly to some places that is at an angle. See children, you can see the direct sunlight falling on some places and in some places it is falling at an angle, or we can call it as a slanting rays. The angle keeps increasing as we move towards the two poles, that is the North Pole and the South Pole. It is hotter in the areas which faces the sun directly and less hot in the areas that receive the sun rays at an angle, that is North Pole and the South Pole. Now children, observe this picture carefully. Here you can find children, in March the sun shines directly over the equator, and in June it shines directly over the Tropic of Cancer in the northern hemisphere. In September, as the earth travels further around the sun shines directly over the equator, and in December it shines over the Tropic of Capricorn in the southern hemisphere. Thus children, you can observe that there is a belt which is extended from the Tropic of Cancer to the Tropic of Capricorn, and this belt is called as a tropical belt. And this belt gets the maximum heat energy from the sun. Do you know the reason, children? Yes, because this tropical belt faces the sun directly, and that is the reason it receives the maximum amount of sun energy. So children, you can observe that on June 21st, the sun is on Tropic of Cancer. That means the northern hemisphere is having the summer season, and on June 21st, children, we experience summer solstice. Summer solstice means the day will be longer than the night. And on March 21st and September 23rd, the sun is on the equator. On December 22nd, the sun is on the Tropic of Capricorn or the southern hemisphere. And here, children, we will be experiencing the winter solstice, that is on 22nd December, we all have winter solstice. Winter solstice means night is longer than the day. And March 21 and September 23rd, throughout the world, the day and night are equal in size. So these are called as equinoxes. That means 12 hours of day and 12 hours of night. Now children, if you move further towards the north or south of the temperate belt, you will reach the polar region, and the seasons in this region are very peculiar. This region is away from the sun during winter months and does not get any sunshine in the day. That is, for 6 months there is no sunshine on the poles. It will be totally dark. And for the next 6 months, it constantly faces the sun throughout the day, that is the 24 hours of the day, and there is no night or darkness. But children, don't think it will be as bright as you are experiencing in your own state. The sun does not rise high in the sky, but only stays just above the sunrise point, which is called as horizon. Children, have you ever observed the sunrise during the morning hours? It is neither very bright nor very dark. So that kind of a 24 hours of day is experienced in these zones. Now children, for the 6 months, it is so freezing cold that there is an ocean which is called as Arctic Ocean, and this ocean remains frozen throughout the year. Now children, you all must have seen globe. And what is the color used while showing the oceans in the globe? Yes, it is blue color. But if you will see this picture, children, the ocean is shown white in color. Can you tell me why? Yes, it is shown in white color because it is frozen and the Arctic Ocean is turned into ice. So children, when you go to this type of places, you don't find any trees and plants grown here because the soil has become hard rock and there is no chance for the plants to penetrate its root under the soil. When the summer starts and the ice starts melting, some plants like moss, lichens and some flowering plants you can see, but you can't see the greenery in this region. So children, this is all about the earth movements, the seasons and its effects on the life of the human beings, and about the latitudes and longitudes. I hope the topic is very much clear to you. So shall we have a quick recapitulation of what all we learned today? So children, today we learnt about the lines on the globe, that is latitudes, longitudes, and how it forms the grid and the uses of grid. Then we learnt about the different Indian seasons and the festivals that is celebrated in each season. We learnt about the types of seasons and its impact on our lives. We learnt Earth's tilt, rotation and revolution, and the temperature belts on the Earth. Now based upon our today's topic, children, here comes your assignment. I will be giving you some questions. Please note down the questions in your notebooks, and you can take the help of your teacher, and even you can refer the textbook while answering this question. So here comes your questions. Name different Indian seasons. There are 6 Indian seasons, children, and you have to write the names of those seasons. Then you have to give reasons for the change of the seasons across the globe. You have to explain about the impact of the seasons on the life of the people. You have to explain the effects of Earth's tilt and revolution around the sun. And you have to explain about the temperature belts on the earth and how it affects the seasons. Along with these questions, children, you have to solve the worksheets which are published by SCERT, and you can procure these worksheets from the official website of SCERT. So children, I hope the topic is very much clear to you. With this, I take your leave. Keep learning. Thank you.